Hello and welcome to another episode of Launch Legends. Today we're joined by Baptiste of Crisp. Crisp only started in 2015, but right now they've got over 200,000 websites using their software. They've got over 5,000 customers. But the best thing is they're completely bootstrapped and they've only got 10 people working in the team. How does it do that? Baptiste talks about how they're focused on the product to start with. They're focused on the first 10 users and they just kept making sure that the product was right for them. From there, the word of mouth just got them more and more users. Over time, it just worked. And so much so that they have not done any proper marketing yet and they continue to grow. So there's a lot of value in this interview. But before, if you are listening to this on a podcast, please rate and review. And if you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Hey, Baptiste, thank you very much for coming on the show. Crisp, great product. I've been using that for a while as well. Yeah, I know you've been around since 2015.
Yeah.
You've got over 200,000 websites with your Crisp code installed. And you were telling me you've got something like 120 million visitors that visit those sites altogether. And then you've got 5,000 plus customers. And the best thing is you are bootstrapped and you've only got 10 team members. So that's great. I would love to know who you are and where you came from.
Yeah, so we started Crisp back 5 years ago. So I founded Crisp with a friend. I was in engineering school. And back in the time, we did several side projects. And we really felt that we were lacking a good chat product for startups, for small companies. Back in the times, we had we already had chat software, but they were super expensive or super ugly, to be honest. So we wanted to combine a very cost-effective solution to have a freemium model, and on the other hand, have a super slick user interface. So we wanted to make Crisp look like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger and to get this B2C experience and to bring that to B2B customers.
So what year was that when you started working on that?
We worked on that 5 years ago, and we did that for a couple of months. So we worked on an MVP, design, etc. So we really wanted to have something called a minimum loveable product, because nowadays most people do minimum viable products.
Yeah,
but they only understand the word minimum and not viable products. And so we made a minimum lovable product to make something that people really love. So we had a private beta for few weeks. So we started to have 10 users, and those 10 users, we listened to their feedback. Every day we chatted using Crisp to those early customers, and we implemented their feedback. We improved Crisp step by step.
So Baptiste, how did you get that private beta? How did you get those users to come and work with you?
Easily, to be honest. What we did is we emailed companies hey, man, you have a website and you don't even have a live chat. You should have a live chat. We are a new company. We're going to bring you our live chat for free. Just use Crisp and let's go.
And how many did you manage to get for the private beta?
To start a private beta, you only need 10 companies. You don't need so many companies. What you only need is few companies that will still use your product a month later.
You're right, but I think what I've noticed, in my previous experience and by talking to other people is that you have a lot of people who would sign up, say 100, 200, maybe 1,000, but only a very small fraction would actually end up using the product. Did you notice that? Where you got a bunch of people signed up but never used it, and then
what we made is really focused on those 10 early customers. It was very important to keep them it was very important to keep them on the long term. And now, 5 years later, we still have those 10 early customers. And why they're still with us is because we really made the product around them. And because they felt we were listening to them, and because we made the product around them, they thought, okay, this product is great. I will talk about Crisp to other companies, etc. So we came with 10 users initially, and then we had 20, 30, 100, etc. And this way...
Sorry, I'm just, apologies, I'm just cutting you. It's very interesting. Yeah. You said you worked with those 10 people very closely where you were chatting to them using your own software, which is great. Yeah. Those 10 companies, were they from the same segment, same sector, or they were just separate, different companies?
Not really. We had e-commerce websites, obviously, but we had SaaS software as well. Many different kind of websites. But in our own case, I guess the business sector, doesn't matter so much. Mm-hmm. But it depends about what you do.
Because most of the business books I've read, and I follow a lot of people, and they always talk about refining your segment, having the real persona, and really keep going deeper and deeper into that persona where you really have the perfect customer for yourself, and then focus on that particular persona and then expand from there. Did you notice that when you started working with the 10 people, then you added 20, 30, 40, 50, you started to build your ideal customer?
Not really, but we knew what they liked in Crisp. And they liked Crisp because it was super easy to use. The interface was really great. And they were super productive when they were using Crisp. It's exactly what they like. So we improved Crisp using this method.
Right. So let's talk about when you first gave those 10 people your product and you added more people along the way. Yeah. How long before how long after working the product was ready for prime time, for like expanding into product hunt or something?
So we launched Crisp in September, and in November. So we launched in September with 10 companies. Mm-hmm. And in November, we had around 500 companies using the Crisp already. And it was all organic. Like we didn't have, back in the times, a blog or something like that. It was, pure organic.
Wow, that's really good. And that's very quick as well, from September to November. 500 people.
Then one of our early users featured us on Product Hunt. Mm-hmm. 5 years ago, Product Hunt was still a private system. So to feature a company to feature a product on Product Hunt, you need to be invited, etc., to be a part of the community. And this guy was really well ranked on Product Hunt, and he didn't warn us about that. And during a weekend, like we got featured on Product Hunt, the server started to be crazy, and in like few days we went from 500 users to like 10 times more. So
Wow.
from 500 to 5,000.
So, Baptiste, so you gave it to 10 people in September. You launched in November. By that time, you had 500 people, 500 companies using your product. That's tremendous, tremendous growth. Even back in 2015, I would say this space was very, very competitive. First of all, well done for actually creating something that's so huge right now. But what was so special about the product at that point that caused 500 companies to join and start using the product?
Many people think that the key to succeed a company, a startup especially, is acquisition. But the key is not acquisition. I don't know if you know the growth hacking framework, which is called ARR framework, which is for acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. And most people think that acquisition is the most important thing, but it's not. What really cares is retention. And because if you have retention, then you will have more traction because people talk a lot about your product. So more you will retain customers, more you will activate customers, more you will have customers again and again and again. So you really need to work on onboarding. Obviously, to do that, you need to have a good product. But the onboarding process is very important. It's very important that when someone signs up to your solution, then the user starts using the product immediately. And to do that, you need to onboard the customer. It's very important to understand what we call the aha moment. The aha moment is the key moment where the user or your lead understands the value proposition of all your system. For instance, when you go to Twitter, the aha moment is going to be when you do your first tweet. On Tinder, for instance, it's going to be when you match the first person. And on Crisp, it was when you install Crisp on a website. So it was super important to make everything to work the best as we could to make you install Crisp on your site. Okay. It was like 50% of our job is to make you install Crisp on your site.
Would you say
that traction gets easier?
Would you say it was purely word of mouth? You went from 10 users to 500 users within 2 months.
Yeah, wow. Really, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you obviously created a great product. So what happened after you got 5x customers, 10x customers after you launched on Product Hunt? What happened?
So what I was saying initially is when you work with 10 users and you make sure to have a good product around them, if you go to 10 to 500, like you have something which is called the product market fit. It means that your product is made for the right target. And if you continue this way, if you attract more people, you will continue the growth even more. So when we had the 5,000 users from Product Hunt, it went even more. The growth increased even more. So I was watching one of your. I was reading listening to one of your interviews, and one thing you said that was incredible was that you guys are still not doing any proper marketing. It's all organic and word of mouth still. And given the fact that you launched in 2015, and from there you've got over 200,000 websites using a product, and you've got over 5,000 customers. Let's talk about that. How did you manage to get so many customers over and over again without any proper marketing? So now I can say we do have the marketing, team. But it's pretty new to us. Like we started to have people working at marketing with Crisp like a year ago. So during four years, we didn't have any marketing team, and I was doing the job. I was doing the marketing job. So on Crisp, what we did is we worked a lot on customer support. Because when people treat customer support, it's very important to solve them. And nowadays, the new marketing is really the customer support. The customer support is the new way to fidelize your users, to make them still use your product in 2 or 3 years. So what we did is we worked on customer support driven development. It's a fancy name, but the idea is to make everything you can so people don't contact you on the customer support. The best customer support is when people don't need support, when people don't have any problem. So what we did is everybody at Crisp, even developers, even people now from the marketing team, do customer support. It's very important because when everybody talks to customers, everybody feels the pain because when customers are complaining about stuff, you really want, as a human, to solve that. And it couldn't be possible if you have different teams doing support, development, and marketing. Because if you have different teams doing that, the customer support team will solve the problem by talking to customers, but the developers won't solve the bug because they don't even know the bugs are there. So when we make sure that developers talk to customers, developers really change the way they code. They code by having in mind that if I do this the bad way, people will complain. People will talk to the customer support, and it's gonna cost us a lot of time, money, and reputation as well.
So give me one specific example where you were getting similar kind of complaints and then you resolved it by developing around it, making sure that you just resolve the problem.
For instance, WordPress. As I explained before, onboarding is very important. And nowadays, we still have around still 50% of websites, or 60 maybe, are made with WordPress. So in our position, it's super important that installing Crisp with WordPress, it's very important that it's easy to install Crisp with WordPress. And back in the times, it wasn't so easy. Like you needed to copy paste your widget code and to paste it in your WordPress plugin, essentially. And people were complaining about that because even if it was copy pasting, it's easy to copy paste, but people who don't understand what HTML is, etc., can have some troubles doing that. So we really changed the complete way to install Crisp with WordPress, and we made it in one click. Basically, you click on install Crisp on WordPress, and Crisp is installed. Period.
Wow. Yeah.
So when you do that, users are happy. They don't have any issue anymore, so they don't contact the customer support. So every day we have people having bugs, etc., and we really make sure to solve the bugs immediately. this way, we reduce the customer support request. Because when a user complains, maybe you can have 10 times more or 20 times more people having the same issue. So it's super important to solve an issue by improving the product and solving bugs. Yeah.
Great. I think it's great. I think I agree with that, where the whole team basically works on customer success and makes sure the customer is happy. But the question that comes to my mind is that you've got 200,000 plus websites using your application. That must mean a lot of people just sending out messages, any complaints or queries and stuff. That probably results in a lot of time each developer or each team member that has to spend on that. Does that not really impact it?
Not really, because since we started Crisp, obviously we have many more chat requests than we used to have at the beginning. It's obvious. But using this method to optimize everyday stuff, it tends to be flat or flattish. So we don't, like, if we have 2 times more users, we won't have 2 times more customer support requests, because really make sure to optimize stuff in the way that like people just don't have issues, so people then don't contact us at all.
And how much of your developers' time goes into just catching up with the customers per day?
Catching bugs is the most important thing. It's we prioritize this over the rest. At first, we prefer to have the perfect product and the perfect user experience rather than adding stuff every time. Because when you add new stuff every time, you will make your product more complex, more difficult to use. You will add more bugs as well, and we don't like that. We prefer to optimize everything and to make the user experience perfect, and then we add new stuff. But it's important to us to do that in the right order.
Right. So let's go back. I mean, from 2015, from 5,000 users to 200,000, that's a huge jump. You said word of mouth has been the main growth channel for you. What else has worked for you? Any integrations, any other things you did, any PR?
So initially, Crisp was a very simple chat software, and people were requesting more features, many features. And what we did is we stacked all the requests, and we thought, okay, what could be Crisp version 2? And we worked during 6 months on a very big release when we changed almost everything. The website, the user interface, so the product, the core product, and we added many new stuff. So we added many integrations. We allowed users, our customers, to connect with other tools such as Facebook Messenger, Twitter, emails, SMS. This way, we wanted to allow our companies to use only Crisp, to handle all their customer support channels. So no matter if you contact us from Facebook, Twitter, email, you handle all the requests from Crisp. And we added many other features such as a CRM, a built-in CRM feature on Crisp. This way, when you talk to customers, you already know who they are. So we did that. It was called Crisp 2. We changed the pricing model as well by releasing a plan called Crisp Unlimited. We were the first company in the SaaS market to build an unlimited plan. It means that no matter how many chats you send, how many leads you have, how many agents, teammates you have on Crisp, no matter about those numbers, you will pay the same price. It's $25 per month. And we were, back in the time, the first company doing that. Now, some other SaaS companies are doing the same pricing model. But when we released that, we did a new product hunt. So we released the Crisp 2 on product hunt, and it was a huge success. I mean, we doubled the revenues, we doubled the customers, we doubled everything, the growth as well, just by changing the product, the branding, pricing model, and because we really implemented what our users wanted to have. Wow. And it worked great. But this way, we handled our product and launch ourselves. I mean, we featured us ourselves on product hunt. So,
and how many leads did you generate from that particular launch?
On this launch, probably like 10 to 20K users, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, many more than the first one.
Wow. So a lot of SaaS companies, they go down this route where they do a launch on Product Hunt, and eventually they do another launch on Appsumo as well, where they look to get some cash injection. Did you think about going down that route?
No, we didn't do Appsumo because they contacted us about that. But we don't want to discount our product so much. I mean, it's destroying value, in my opinion. We already have a good pricing, a super good pricing. We do have a free model. We have a free plan as well, and we don't want to cut price as much as they requested. And overall, Appsumo is taking around 70% of all the sales. And sorry, but no way. You don't take 70 or 80% of our sales. No way. So when I knew that, I told them, okay, we will stop the deal and we won't do that. Sorry.
Great. So, Baptiste, one more question came to my mind, and then you said something earlier, which I think is great, but you said that we focus on not building too many features. And obviously, you get a lot of requests for features, but you want to make sure that your product is not too heavy. There's no feature creep. And I was talking to another great founder a couple of weeks ago, and she said that every 4 to 6 months, they go through the product and they actually actively take out some of the features which are not being used that much anymore. I thought that was so great. And then you're doing something very similar, where you just don't build you don't build too many features that it gets too heavy. How do you manage that?
Sometimes we do that. We already removed features that were not perfect enough, or that were only used by 20 people. So we just remove the feature in that case, and nobody complains about it. And yeah, one time we removed a feature because it wasn't as perfect as we wanted to make it. So we removed the feature first, and 6 months later, we completely rebuilt the feature from scratch. But what we do usually is, as we are the first users of Crisp, because we use Crisp every day, we really know every day what is missing in the product. So when we really feel that, okay, for our own use, we will need that, we implement that. And usually it's always a great success. Because as we use the product every day, we really know what's going on and how to use it and what could be implemented.
Great. Have you ever not built a feature where you were getting a lot of requests from the customers, but you decided not to?
Yes, sometimes could happen. For instance, people always request more features. Always. For instance, we released on Crisp a new analytics feature a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked a lot on this feature, on this analytics feature. And our users were happy about that. But we started to have customers requesting even more features in this analytics stuff. And we told them, okay, no, we won't do that because Crisp will never compete with products like Google Analytics or Mixpanel, etc. We are not an analytics platform. We can do analytics, so you can let you analyze all your conversions, customer support effectiveness, etc. But we won't compete with Mixpanel, etc. So if you want to have informations about how many people can see this specific web page, just use Google Analytics. It's a very good solution to do that. So we have people requesting some kind of features, but in our opinion, it doesn't make sense.
Great. So Baptiste, one last question. I know you're very young and you built a great company. Like I said, I'm a customer myself. Imagine someone's listening to this and they're thinking, okay, I need to build a business, or they're in the process of building a business. What advice would you give them?
I think that doing company where when you're young is super good because you're lacking experience. Mm-hmm. And usually we think that experience is good to make a company. But I think it's not, because where you want to create something new, especially in a competitive market, being new and having a fresh mind is a great asset. And I think it's why Crisp had this success. It's because I didn't even know what was a SaaS software. Like when we started Crisp, I didn't knew some of our competitors. I didn't knew what was the acronym for SaaS, etc. We just wanted to make a very good chat software, and you had a lot of companies using this software. And when you are young, you don't need money because you don't have any wife, kids, house, etc. All those fancy stuff. You don't have that. So you are just free to succeed, free to fail, and you can easily create some new stuff. And I think that nowadays students really should do companies because.
So imagine a young person. Imagine a young person starts their company. What's the first thing you would tell them to do?
So I know what they should not do. So what they should not do is raising money because it's not needed immediately. Like you can do a company without raising money. You shouldn't incorporate your company immediately as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's useless at the beginning. I mean, you can sell your product for like $1,000 an hour. Nobody cares if you don't pay your tax. Like nobody. So no bank, no incorporation, no funding, like no VCs. But what they should do is just building a product and just focus on just doing the best product as they can. You don't care about what framework should I use. Should I use React.js, AngularJS, Vue.js? We don't care about. Should I use Amazon? Should I use Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform? We don't care about that. Many young person are spending a lot of time by doing that, choosing the framework, the infrastructure, etc. What really cares when you do something new is just the product, and just work the best as you can on the product, just the product, and then you can find a name, you can build a website, etc. But yeah, do the product first. And yeah, for instance,
I think one thing.
Yeah, the last advice is, for instance, when you do a software, to get some more time, many young people start doing a SaaS product by doing the sign up and the login. You don't need that. Just do the product immediately, and then do the sign up, and then do the login. You will have way more time by doing the product immediately without doing the rest.
Yeah, I think one thing you missed, which you did yourself, is focus on the product, building it, and talking to the customers as well. So don't just sit in the background and work on the product, just talk to the customer.
In my opinion, rather than talking to people like immediately, like take some time to have a very good product. And once you're confident enough to release it as an alpha or a beta, do it. But it's important to have the minimum loveable product, and just not a minimum shitty software.
Great. Baptiste, thank you very much. Thank you for coming on the show, and I hope to see you again, and good luck for the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.